Which NFC North QB is on the hottest seat in 2025?
It's Jordan Love. I'm not wavering.
Do you say Jordan Love though because the contract? Do you say it because he's been he's been on the Green Bay Packers for going on 6 years, or is he going on 7 this year?
Going on 6 years.
Yeah. Okay, going on 6 years. What is it that makes Jordan Love in the hottest seat in the NFC North?
So, if the last 2 years with Jared Goff as your quarterback hasn't bought him at least a year of leeway, you're crazy. Especially as a Detroit fan with the history you've had, if what Jared Goff has been doing doesn't buy him a little bit of runway, I don't know what will.
Can I just Jordan to your Love, point? A bad Jared Goff season would have been 2020 and 2021. 2020 with the Rams, 20 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, a QB rating of 90, 67% completion percentage, just under 4,000 yards. His first season with the Lions, I don't know if he was hurt in this. I don't have the full amount of games played. Probably 67.2%, 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and then since then he's been skyrocketing back up. So even bad, he wasn't bad.
Right. So he should have a ton of runway. These rookie or second year players, first time starter and JJ McCarthy, they obviously have runway. They're young. You drafted both of them at premium spots, first for the Bears, 9th I believe for JJ McCarthy. You're gonna at least have them for their full contract.
You traded up for JJ McCarthy too. Minnesota.
So
you mortgaged a little bit of future.
They believe in it. They're not gonna bail after 1 year. Now, Love's contract obviously gives him some runway because there's a lot of guaranteed money there. You're not going to go out and get another guy. But that said, he's the one who's the highest paid in the division. He's a top 5 quarterback paid in the NFL. And statistically, he's a little better than middle of the pack. Somewhere in between. You can go, if you go off QBR, he's higher, but QBR is not everything. He had 11, 12 interceptions last year. Year before that, still
he had 10.
9 or 10, yeah. So he hasn't really, his play hasn't earned him any runway yet. His contract is the only thing that's earned Jordan Love runway at this point. That's why I think his seat is the hottest.
Let's hear from Mark Tauscher on Wilding and Tausch because he has Jared Goff, which I think this is a little bit of projection.
Let's not kid ourselves. Jordan Love being a lot younger and still growing, Jared Goff is who Jared Goff is. Now, can you do it without your little nookie, your little security blanket, and Ben Johnson? If he can do it, tip the cap. If he can't, the Detroit fans are going to start saying, I get why Sean McVay did what he did. That's why the pressure's on Goffy.
It is
pressure.
It is a
3.5.
It is a 3.5 year difference in age between Jared Goff and Jordan Love. And the way quarterbacks play now into late age, Jared Goff's age is not a problem.
No,
it is not a problem. I mean, by the time his age is a problem, Jordan Love's age will be a problem too. Also, you want to talk about a guy with a binky? How about Jordan Love, who's been sucking at the teat of Matt LaFleur's offense since the day he was born into the NFL, right? This is year 6 of Jordan Love and his binky, Matt LaFleur. You want to talk about a guy who has it easy? Talk about a guy who has not had to change his offensive coordinator or his play caller or the voice in his head one time in his entire damn career. That's a guy who needs to prove he can go win without his binky. That would be Jordan Love. Now, to the credit of the Packers, Matt LaFleur is still there. You know what Jared Goff has done that Jordan Love hasn't done? He's gone to a damn Super Bowl with a different coach, not the binky coach of Ben Johnson. He went with Sean McVay. And then he got to an NFC championship game with Detroit. And, oh, by the way, has Jordan Love won a division?
No.
As a starter?
Nope.
So maybe we stop with the Jared Goff slander until
Jared
Jordan
Goff's won 2 different divisions.
Right. Maybe we stop with the Jared Goff slander as Packer fans until Jordan Love can hold the binky that Jared Goff got from Ben Johnson.
Can hold his own bottle?
Yeah. Let's have Jordan Love be a guy who can hold his own bottle.
That's a big step. That's a step forward.
Come on.
TJ from the road
I
says
knew it was going to be projection.
if Jordan continues to make rookie mistakes, that would be the reason he's on the hot seat.
Also,
But he hasn't proven that he can eliminate them. He's done it for small stretches, but to be able to do it for an entire season, to keep your interception number in the single digits, to get your touchdowns in the mid to high 20s or low 30s, that's something Jordan Love needs to do season in, season out with this kind of contract. So this year is a pivotal year for him, because if he does the exact same thing as he did last year, no doubt will people have Jordan Love a little bit on the hot seat.
wish casting from Mark Tauscher aside that Jared Goff's going to fall off a cliff, even though he's had a track record of winning with multiple offensive coordinators. Jordan Love, there's an out after 2027, according to Spot Track, that you could get out of it. It's not great, but you could get out of it. That's not what the Packers would do. But if you're looking at how long is someone's leash here, I mean, Mitch Trubisky got basically all the 4 years in Chicago when you're drafted, and they knew he wasn't the guy, but they're like, we'll throw it out one more time. Justin Fields, I'm just using them as examples because the rookie QBs and J.J. McCarthy and Caleb are going to have the longest leash. And then Jared Goff, again, I'm using the expectations, the hottest seat. And again, is it the actual team or is it the fan base? The natives in Green Bay will get more restless. Let's say Jordan Love, Jared Goff, J.J. McCarthy, and Caleb Williams put up the same stats. Which guy is on the hottest seat? Let's say they all put up the same numbers that Jordan Love put up 2 years ago when he played a full season. Mm-hmm. Let's say they all put up the exact same numbers next year. Which one of those guys is on the hottest seat?
I mean, to me, I'm still thinking Jordan Love.
Exactly.
And the thing that comes in the biggest play is his contract. How
Right.
much you're paying him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you're paying him to be above and beyond all of those other quarterbacks.
And then also,
At least $3 million better than Goff.
2.5.
But here's the other part. So Jared
Semantics.
Goff, a fully cooked product, let's say he wins another division, so he continues to win divisions with those numbers. Jordan Love continues to not win divisions and be the 7 seed with those numbers. And then you got 2 rookies who are going to be through the roof. Their teams will be through the roof on it. And then again, you have the expectations that Packer fans carry and his contract carry of like, you're supposed to be the guy.
Right.
And
That's
Jared
my guy
Goff,
right there.
we know what Jared Goff is.
Yeah,
Jared
well-
Goff is clearly a guy you can win with and probably not because of.
Your little nookie.
All we know is that all we know about Jordan Love is his floor.
Now, I will say, not because I don't think Tausch is right, but I think what he didn't allude to and what you had mentioned, his 2 offensive coordinators were touted as some of the best offensive minds in football. When McVay got to the Super Bowl, he was the guy. He was like the first coach to go through like Madden as a kid and be like, take that kind of, mindset to the football field. And then now you got Ben Johnson, who was like, for the last 2 years, the most sought after offensive coordinator to become head coach out there.
Why do I feel that?
I could say that Goff has only ever had elite offensive coordinators for his career.
Well, he didn't have Ben Johnson when he first got to Detroit, and he still put up. He was
That was his
ascending.
worst year.
Right,
You
but he was
pointed
still,
to
but
it.
it wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad,
It
but
was
it
a
was
Jordan
his
Love year.
worst.
It was a Jordan Love
So
year.
if that's his floor with an average offensive coordinator,
Well,
I could see where Mark's. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Goff is better than that.
You
But
can
I'm
make the
saying
case
that's a point.
because here's the point why I would consider it invalid is I don't think we'd have to look hard to somehow find Mark say that Ben Johnson will not positively affect Caleb.
Oh, for sure. I
So,
know.
like,
I know.
Your point is a valid one.
The
Jim.
logic there doesn't carry because
It-
somehow
well,
Ben
it carries
Johnson
for me.
Somehow Ben Johnson will be a binky that will lift Jared Goff to borderline Pro Bowl or All Pro quarterback
Your
status.
little nookie.
But when he goes to Green Bay, that nookie, or excuse me, when he goes to Chicago with Caleb Williams, that nookie won't matter.
Can't do it as head coach.
No, right,
Only as an
exactly.
offensive coordinator.
Right. So those
Unproven as a
those logical fallacies aside, I would still like to point out that Jared Goff, because he's so much older, old man Goff,
Yeah.
at some point maybe he earns the benefit of the doubt that you're right. Under McVay as a 20-something-year-old, he needed the QB coach. And then with Ben Johnson, he needed the help. But now Jared Goff, as Aaron Rodgers would tell you, like, hey, the quarterback now, you're understanding the offense. I'm the captain now. Like,
Yeah.
we are also all assuming that Jared Goff's along for the ride. At some point, at a 30-year-old QB who's played in a Super Bowl, multiple NFC championship games, and has been a starter now for about, I think, 7-8 years, he probably has more ownership.
Totally.
You got to think he went through the classes. He's gotten his quarterback diploma.
Yes.
He's ready to show that he doesn't need a elite offensive coordinator to be good on the Lions.
Also, we were assuming that Dan Campbell, who hired Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, is incapable of hiring other good coaches?
That's correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure that we're on the
All on the
same
same
wave.
page.
Yes, exactly.